Welcome to Be Who They Come To, where healing meets humor and spirit meets story. Oriana and Kelly are two friends who've stumbled, laughed, cried, and somehow found their way back to source. This podcast is a space to share the messy, magical journey of recovery, healing, and rediscovering themselves, and ideally, helping you do the same, with plenty of laughter along the way, because sometimes the best medicine really is a mix of soul work and a good sense of humor. And now, be who they come to.
Hey, Cal.
Hey-o, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, living the dream over here.
As always. As always, living the dream. I'm all right today, fresh off the gym, fresh
Good.
shower. You know what a big chore it is to wash your hair? Like we talked about this. Like remember how, or there's those commercials where, sorry, can't go out, I have to wash my hair. People use that as like, that's legit.
Yep.
It is such a chore. Now with dry shampoo, like you can go like 3 weeks without washing your hair and still looks all right.
Yeah.
Eventually
Mine looks
you
like
gotta wash it.
spaghetti after like 4 days. That's why I straightened it.
Yeah. Hats are amazing for that. Yeah.
Yep. Took it up. Plus the
Yeah,
roots.
exactly.
The roots are getting a little bit crazy.
I know I'm due too soon. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, due. But okay, so what's your? We're starting with our quotes again. What's your quote for the day for this episode?
Okay. I don't know the author, but
Okay.
this one was it. I felt it. Not
All
every
right.
soul deserves a front row seat to your life. Boundaries are like velvet ropes that protect your peace.
They do. They do
Yep.
protect your peace. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that.
Yep.
I like that. Mine's so short. Mine is no is a complete sentence.
Oh, damn. Drop the mic on that.
Right? It's true. No, period. But it was I heard it from Brene Brown. She talks about boundaries a lot. And her thing was that boundaries are created not for the other person so that they can't get in. They're created so that you can communicate what your maximum is because you care about that person and you don't
That's
want them
right.
to cross that line because you want to keep them in your life.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. By the
Right? Where you
way,
tell somebody,
everybody,
like, go ahead.
the episode is about boundaries, specifically
Right.
social
Yes.
media
That's right.
boundaries today.
Yeah. I forgot to
we-
mention that.
That's okay. We're rolling
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead with
social
Brene.
media boundaries. Yeah, she
Yeah.
talks about how they're about you and not the other person, and you don't want that person to cross that boundary because you want to keep them in your life. It's like, hey, please don't do this. I'm asking you not to. Please don't go there because then I will have to issue a consequence or remove myself or whatever that looks like, right? Like, and I don't want to have to do that. So please don't cross that line.
Yeah, it's like a mental eviction.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to sometimes evict people from your brain.
You do, because it's too much. It becomes too much.
It is.
Or you tell somebody like, please don't crack jokes about my dog, like, something stupid like that, and they just keep going. It's like, I asked you to stop, back off. I asked you not to do that, back off. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people, especially around social media, there's a whole psychology around it, really.
Yeah. It's like people they focus a lot on it becomes part of their life, social media, right? It's the first thing they look at when they wake up. It's the last thing they look at when they go to sleep. And it's a dopamine hit, right?
It. Yep.
It's your instant gratification, right? Like you post a photo or a video or something, and then you're constantly looking to see who's liked it, who's watching it. Am I getting any feedback, any comments? And you'll look at it 10 times. I used to be worse for that, but I'm better now. Like I'll post it, I'll check later to see if there's been comments or whatever, because I don't have my notifications pushed to my phone. I have to go into Facebook and look.
Yeah.
It just became annoying on my phone to have all those notifications. So I opted out of that. But A lot of people feed off of that. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, right? It all becomes, who's looking at me, who's watching, who cares, right? Who quote unquote cares.
Yeah, I know. I don't like there's some platforms that I don't really pay attention to, but Facebook is a big one for me. And
Yeah.
I think along the line, especially like through COVID and stuff, or like times of like isolation, it was like form of connection for me.
Oh, for sure. For everyone.
Hmm.
It's all we
Yeah.
had. We weren't allowed near
Right.
people, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you communicated with people. I think Zoom calls became huge.
Yeah. Yep.
Right, with work and stuff, everybody had meetings through Zoom or Google Teams or Google Meet or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So it became the norm. It's like we talked about before too. You and I, we're the last generation before social media, before cell
Right.
phones.
Yep.
We didn't have access to everybody else's lives.
No, I was in my 20s
Yeah.
when I got my cell phone. I think it was like
Me too.
early 20s.
Yeah, early 20s. Before that, it was like those giant car phones that you have, or even cordless phones. Cordless phones were a privilege then,
Oh, don't we know about
But all communication came from your landline.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't have access to all these people unless you bumped into somebody or on purpose called them, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like too, it's great to stay connected with family and friends and all that, but there's another component to it, right? Where, some of the connections, I think on social media, specifically in relationships, they may not be ideal. I don't know.
To say the least. To say the least.
Like
there's definitely boundaries that are crossed there all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
There's a difference too in your relationship between privacy and secrecy.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. You're entitled to your privacy, and whether that's your phone or whatever, but in my opinion and in my experience, if you're hiding something, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Whether that's communication through social media or text messages, it becomes your access to ex-partners or new attention, right?
Right.
There's people, and I call them media whores. It's
right.
Where there's that constant validation from others, the comments, the emojis, it becomes too much. And then your partner may or may not see that. You may be doing it behind their back, which is wrong. Even if they've become aware of it and they've asked you not to do it, it's wrong. It's
well,
a form of cheating.
The boundary is like privacy is like intentional and it's healthy. Like privacy is maybe talking to your girlfriend about something that happened at work, or maybe even if you're kind of struggling with your partner a little bit, but you're not.
Yeah, if you're bitching about your relationship,
you're not being deceitful, and
That's
where
right.
secrecy is deceptive, it's withholding.
Yeah, it's withholding. It's whether that's by omission or outright, lying about something. Like if you can't control what other people put on your posts, for example, a comment or whatever. No. We don't control that. I just ignore things like that. If I find them inappropriate, I just ignore it. But if you're the one going, and I'll use an example of putting a fire emoji on a girl in a bikini.
Yeah.
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, I mean,
or if I'm putting, drooly faces on topless guys covered in body oil. Inappropriate. Yeah. I'm in a relationship. That is seeking attention. That is, to me, signaling to that person, hey, I care. Right? Hey, I'm paying attention to you.
Well, it's virtual signaling, right? Yep. It's virtual flirting. Like before,
100%.
When you kind of had to flirt in person if you wanted, and so now, there's just so much access to so much stuff now.
Well, and it's led to a lot of infidelity. In relationships.
Well, and people too. There's another thing with privacy and secrecy. There's also oversharing. Like some people
hmm They'll post their
overshare.
arguments, or like if they've been cheated on, for example, it's all over. They keyboard warrior
Hmm.
all over social media, and
Yeah.
it's some things are just dealt with in private, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it just, in my opinion, and I think in yours as well, that just you shouldn't do things like that.
Well,
You
and
know?
it's also there's boundaries with that too, because a lot of people
Yep,
I think would, not a lot of people, but a few people I think would think this podcast is oversharing,
possibly.
right? It's a matter of perception too.
Yep,
Like,
opinion. Yep. It's all
and it's
subjective. It's all subjective, right? People might think, well, why do they feel the need to, take videos or audio of them just talking about different things?
mhm.
People want to hear it. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
Mhm.
And for you and I, it's therapeutic. That's the
Yeah, like
conclusion we've come to, right?
I'm just getting into it, so and
Yeah.
it can be very overwhelming for somebody
hmm
who's on the other side of the spectrum going, "Oh my God, like, ooh, that's vulnerable," or "I don't want to share that part," or whatever. But there's also staying connected.
hmm
It's a fine line between staying connected, letting people know where you're at and that kind of stuff, and then where people, but again, it's about perception, I think.
Yep. Yep. And it's
Hmm.
going to be different for everybody. Some people might have, a relationship where they're okay with that kind of behavior, right? And
Hmm.
there's others who may have trust issues because they've asked their partner several times not to do something
Hmm.
and they continue to do it.
Hmm.
Inappropriate. Run for the
I
hills.
know it's so,
Run for the
uh,
hills.
and as we get older, I think our boundaries change, geared to
They
maybe our
do.
experiences or less
Yeah.
exposure, more exposure. Like I
Yeah.
know with me, I had a chit chat with my kids about this podcast. I'm like, hey, mom's gonna be,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? And
Right.
of course they
Right.
were supportive, but
Hmm
it's also,
Well,
having a
it's
chit
out
chat
there
with the
now,
people
right?
you're
And
involved. Yeah.
yeah, it's out there now, and people can access that. And our kids, when they get older or show any interest in that,
Hmm.
they can listen to what we've said too,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
And
and
I'm
they
okay
can.
with everything I'm saying, so
Hmm.
I'm pretty good with
Yeah,
it.
I am too. I just, thought like, hey, I didn't, I wanted them to be kind of included in this because I am, their mom. So it
Yeah,
wasn't necessarily asking permission. It was more like, this is really important to me.
yeah,
And especially Zach, right? Like he's
yeah. Your
on
oldest
social
ones
media.
too, exactly. My older ones too. It's same deal, right? This is
Yeah.
what I'm doing. Uh, give us some support if you want. If not, that's okay. You know.
I know Zach, he's like, Mom, you're on the radio. I was like, yep.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, in case
So it's
everybody's curious, when we say that, it's because we're on blasttheradio.com. We actually have some commercials there. And um,
Wednesday, 8 o'clock.
Wednesdays at 8 p.m. were aired. So that's kind
Hmm.
of cool. Our dear friend John has helped us out with that, um, and really stepped up to be there for us. So pretty cool. Thanks again, John.
Thank you. So
Yeah,
the next daunting one is the X factor. I know
the
there's going to
X
be a
Factor.
whole lot of things
Yeah,
that we say that people may not necessarily agree with, and that's great.
right, right.
Um, you
And some
know,
people so X Factor, we specifically talked about having exes on your social media,
hmm.
where it's you have your harem of all your ex-boyfriends or all your ex-girlfriends
Hmm.
all over your whether it's old pictures or just constant communication with them, like them asking you
Hmm.
out for a drink, or like
Yeah.
it's, to me, inappropriate. I
Well,
don't I don't have exes on my social media. They're exes for a reason.
yeah.
They're exes for, we had an intimate relationship. It's no longer there. We broke up for a reason. Whether it was amicable or not, that's fine. Most are amicable, but
Hmm.
it's not appropriate, I don't think, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm not a huge cheerleader for that. At some exes though, like especially when you have kids and stuff like that,
Mhm. Mhm.
you share kids, it's amicable, it's civil.
Yeah.
That okay. You know,
Yeah.
but exes, um, Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it just uh yeah, I just back in the day, because I'm old school, we didn't see what our exes were eating for dinner or what
No.
vacations they were taking or that
Right.
kind of thing. So it kind of
Yeah.
just seems a little bit creepy.
Who they're dating now, what's their life like, like, yeah, it's just who cares? But, if that's something that's really important to you, you've got to kind of ask
Yes.
yourself, what's really important to my partner
Hmm.
to maintain connection with that person, you know?
Yeah. And I think
Just
social media boundaries, like I think you and I were talking about it, and those should be established like right from the get-go in the
Yep.
relationship, because that could make or break where, like you said, you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend that thinks it's totally cool to have their exes and go out to dinner with them. And if you're not comfortable with that, well, then you don't have to invest and then have your heart broken, being
Mhm.
like, yeah, this doesn't align with me.
No, that's it. And then there's that whole like, well, they're not important to me, so what does it matter? I've asked my partner to delete
Hmm.
exes. I have, and
Yeah.
I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. It
Hmm.
made me uncomfortable. There was communication there that I don't feel was appropriate.
Hmm.
So I have asked, and that argument of, "Well, it's not a big deal. What does it matter?" If it's not a big deal, then you
Hmm.
don't feel bad parting with them.
No,
And
well,
that's just
and that's
that
it.
for me is down to my morals and values. It doesn't apply to
Hmm.
everybody. It's subjective, right?
Hmm.
Everybody's different.
Hmm.
But if there have been trust issues in the past, um,
Hmm.
then it's something that becomes important, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's just having an adult conversation, being like, who is this person to you?
Yes.
And why do you feel the need to stay connected with them?
That's right. That's right.
That like it's really that simple.
Yeah, and like you said, off the hop, you should be having those conversations with somebody. If you're
Yeah.
single and just dating or whatever, what are your thoughts on social media? Like, where do you stand with
Hmm.
that? Or, you know, are you all over the place? Are you on there constantly?
Hmm.
What kind of interactions do you have? Are your exes all over there? Like
Hmm.
yeah, it's a big
Yeah, I
one. And
think
I think it leads to a lot of infidelity.
it does. It really does.
Yeah.
And when people are like, well, I didn't mean for it to happen, or oh, well, I found her intriguing or whatever. It's like, what the hell?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
When you come across comments that your partner's made on other people's photos or, and it's like, pardon?
What?
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 You
Would you
what?
say it's kind of like, would you say that to that person if I was present? It's a biggie, right?
Precisely. Precisely.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's
Anything you're
really,
hiding, anything you're hiding from your
mhm,
partner, to me, it's inappropriate, and I feel it's cheating. And it's
mhm,
led to, like I said, a lot of people being unfaithful. They
mhm,
might feel like, oh, these little side conversations aren't a big deal.
mhm,
But when you're telling somebody, you're so beautiful. Like, no,
mhm.
those
Yeah,
comments are
it's
reserved
awkward.
for your partner.
They should be.
They're reserved for
They
your
should be.
partner. You know,
Mhm.
I know personally, I don't go around calling every dude I see sexy. You keep scrolling. You're allowed to think it. You're allowed to look at the menu.
Yes.
You just don't order
Yes.
from the menu
Yes.
anymore,
That's right.
right?
And you don't taste test either.
Keep scrolling, and there's a difference between a like and a
Mm,
heart.
I think so.
You know, I think
And it's
like
so
just a
funny that it's come
casual,
down to this, like where
right?
we're just like heart, like angry face. Wow. Like it's just
It's so
amazing.
stupid, but at the end of the day, it does translate to something.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I think, in full disclaimer here, both of us have both been cheated on.
Yeah,
So this is, and this
absolutely.
is not jaded. I don't think we're saying anything that is hurtful,
No,
but it is coming from two women that have been cheated on.
yeah, via social
So,
media.
you know,
Yeah,
uh,
via social
yeah.
media. So that's why we wanted to do this episode because we feel
Hmm.
it's important because there's people out there thinking, well, that doesn't make me comfortable, but I don't want to ask my partner to delete them.
Yep.
You know
I don't
what?
want to come off as jealous or insecure and
Or controlling. You get called
Mhm.
controlling.
yes.
And I'm sorry if you find that controlling, that's on you. And this
Mhm.
is about my comfort level. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And your partner, that should matter to them.
Mhm.
It should
That's
matter
why
to them.
boundaries have to be established really
Exactly.
early on
Yeah.
because it's a make or break, and then half the time you end up fighting about boundaries. And like there's a lot of things that are like super important, like deal breakers, right? And
Yeah.
so
Deal breakers
get it
should be
out of the way
established.
right
Yeah.
from the beginning. Just
Yep.
this is what I require. Is there room for compromise? Because I mean, it's not about dictating. It's about this is
No.
what creates a safe space in my heart, my mind. I'm
Yep.
sharing my life with you, and it opens up communication. Where do our values align?
That's it. And I think that's definitely one area. There's politics, whether or not to have children or whatever, but I think social media is one of those things that needs to be discussed.
Yes.
It needs to be
Yeah.
discussed.
Well,
And then sorry, go ahead.
no, it like you said though, politics and all sorts of things like this one is specifically on relationships, but in our next episode we'll be touching on political boundaries and stuff like that because
Yeah.
that varies as well. And if
Oh,
you're the
100%.
type of person who likes to keep that quiet for political beliefs, and then you have a very active partner, like is that going to work, right? Like
Yeah, very
it's just
vocal.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
both may not like they're not wrong. Both people are not wrong.
No, they're just different. But can you make it
Yep.
work?
Yep.
Do you still align on other things that matter? And you can
Mhm.
let that go, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah. So it'd be really interesting if people could maybe on YouTube put some comments.
I was just going to say that if they ask some questions or share your feedback with us, like
What are your boundaries?
yeah, where do
What are
you
your
draw the
deal
line?
breakers? Yeah.
Where do you
And
draw the line
I'd
for
like
that?
to hear it out because sometimes I doubt my boundaries or a question, and
Yeah.
it would be really interesting to have some feedback and
Yeah.
share
Well,
your experiences.
when you've shared with your partner that something makes you very uncomfortable, whether it comes from insecurity or trust issues or whatever, and you're called crazy,
Yeah.
like
Or
that's a huge
jealous.
trigger. Yeah, or jealous. And
Hmm.
it's like, how did I get there?
Hmm.
What made me that way? Because I didn't wake up and become insecure about something. I didn't just wake up and decide today I'm going to control you and tell you what to do.
Hmm.
No, what you're doing makes me feel awful. I'm not
Hmm.
comfortable with it.
Hmm.
That's a boundary for me.
Yeah.
Please respect that.
Hmm.
It's that simple. And I think there's a lot of people that are afraid to set boundaries. There's that fear of rejection or, yeah, being called crazy or jealous or controlling or, um, I think that's almost like a stigma. There's a stigma there,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, no, and really it's a really touchy subject, but it's a real important conversation to have
I
at the
agree.
beginning of your relationship because there'll
I
be
agree.
fights if
Even
your
if it's not had
boundaries
at the
don't align.
beginning. Yeah, even if it's not had in the beginning, at some point it needs to be discussed. Whether
Hmm.
something comes up and it's a trigger for you and you're like, okay, I think this is where I need to maybe fill you in on what's happened. And this is my experience with this. And,
Hmm.
are you able to respect that?
Hmm. And
Right?
identifying the trigger and being able to go to your partner and being like, hey, like what's going on? Or I didn't feel comfortable with this. It actually
Yeah.
opens up that line of communication because if it's just a trigger, then maybe your partner can help you work through that. Because triggers
Mhm.
don't necessarily always mean what's happening, right? It's just you see something
That's
and you're
right.
like, oh hell no, I'm not
It's a
doing that again.
reminder. It's a
Yeah.
reminder of a previous, whether it's trauma or something that just hurt you in general, right?
Yeah, and it's sitting down with your partner and being like, or whomever, and then being like, I don't feel comfortable with this. Can we
Yeah.
talk about it?
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be just partners. It can be your kids, family, right? Where,
Mhm.
maybe you have a family member who's posting way too much information
Mhm.
that you're not
Right.
comfortable with, or, or they're
Mhm.
tagging you in everything,
Mhm.
and you're like, please, please don't tag me. Like, I'm not interested in being a part of that,
Mhm.
that video, picture, whatever, or our kids, like I know my kids aren't
Mhm.
on social media.
Mhm.
For me, it's they're 14 and 15. They're not on there yet.
Mhm.
They have TikTok, which I don't love, and I do try and
Mhm.
and limit, but Instagram, Facebook, they don't have,
Yeah,
Uh,
neither. My youngins
yeah,
don't
I don't
have
know
it
if it's
either.
just, there's no interest in it, but I haven't had to say, "That's not okay," or "This is what you're allowed to
Mhm.
do." Like, I haven't had to go there. I just
Mhm.
don't think amongst our kids of that generation, Facebook's huge right now. It's TikTok that's the whammy.
Well, I think, yeah, Facebook, like, it's, especially my son's like that's for old people.
He said that? Damn you, Zach.
That's like for the older people, and
Yeah.
he uses it, but like it's just to stay really connected with family.
Well,
They're
you could
more
have
like
group chats
Instagram. Mhm.
too, right? Group chats with
Yeah.
family or whatever, like I do. Like, sometimes it's easier for me to get a hold of Mac and Millie, my son and my daughter-in-law, via our group chat
Mhm.
on Facebook than a text
Right.
message.
Yep. Yeah.
They'll answer
Yep.
this if they're not answering that.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
You
There's
little weasels, like,
yeah, there's
right?
some friends I just talked to on Messenger, like because
Yep,
it's our preferred
that's right.
communication for whatever reason. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's just no, but it's yeah, boundaries are like huge, and it's about communication.
What it comes down to, absolutely. And you
And
have to, and I think with that comes courage.
yes.
Courage to have the conversation
Yeah,
and the
because you might
courage
not
to
like the
do it,
answer.
right? So there's that first step. It's grow the balls,
Yeah.
say it.
Or the ovaries, one or the other.
Is it right? My lady balls, as I like to put it.
Yeah.
But to say it, and then like you said, you might not like what you're getting back. The answer might be no, and that's a complete sentence.
And
And
then
then
there's a
what do you do?
whole
A whole other fucking kettle of fish,
it so is
right?
and but that's why I think it's essential at the beginning. So
Yep,
if there's like deal breakers at the beginning, you haven't invested like years or
that's it. I think for me that it is now something that would be a deal breaker for
hmm
me. It's just you're burnt too many times, and it's just no longer okay for me. And that's
hmm
fine. It might be for other
hmm
people. We're just not compatible. That's all,
hmm
you know?
So what do you think about so we've talked about the X factor.
Mhm.
So what do you think about when you're in a relationship and because some people equate posting their partners as showing commitment or they equate
Mhm,
it to
like the
love.
next step in the relationship, or like
Facebook official.
that's it, "We've been together long enough, change your status," you know? Um,
hmm
that I think to me kinda matters a little bit too, because it's
hmm
like, we've
hmm
been together a while now. Like,
hmm
maybe it's okay to let people know.
hmm
Right? I know
Yeah.
the minute I put single on my Facebook status, it's like boom, 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 bombarded with messages, likes,
hmm
friend requests, whatever that looks like. I keep my stuff private.
Yeah.
But
So
when
do
I'm
I.
in a relationship, I do share it, have it so that it's shared with friends or whatever, right? Because
hmm
then people know you're a couple, and to me, that's something that's important.
Yeah. I think I'm changing with that because I was very private.
Mhm.
And now it's kind of like, oh, yeah, this is kind of like
It
fun
matters.
and
Yeah.
it matters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that equates their love for me, but I share everything kind of, well, not everything, but I
Yeah.
share my pictures of my kids, events that I go to. So why wouldn't I
Yeah.
share my partner?
Agreed.
Mhm.
And then there's the whole, if they don't want to change their status and they're still having it as single, why? Why do you want to appear single?
Yeah, that's
Hello?
caca.
Hello?
That's caca.
Why?
Mhm. Well, when you're in a relationship, just don't put anything. Like that was me for like a gazillion years. My status
Yeah.
was never on social media when
Yeah.
if I was in a relationship or not,
Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff like that. But if you're one of those people who puts single, well, then why wouldn't you put that you're in a relationship?
That's right.
Well, that's kind of
I know.
weird.
I agree. Yeah. It's and what did I think it might have been my stepsister actually that said it too, that the sign of a good relationship is no evidence of it on social media.
Mm,
And I disagree with that.
that's a different perspective.
Isn't it though?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
And
you have two people that agree, it
yeah,
works.
that's it.
Ah,
And it's fine. We don't need to go posting everything. I'm one of those people that I like to share my happy stuff.
mhm.
I do. I like to share my good times. And it I've always gotten good feedback from that. So,
Mhm.
but I like to share those things with people because I do have a lot of friends and family and coworkers and stuff on social media. So,
Mhm.
to me, and I'm an open book, right? I don't.
Mhm.
There's nothing about my life that I'm not willing to share with you. Truly, open book.
Right.
Ask me something, I will. I'm not afraid. There's no shame with that. So
Mhm.
if somebody sees something they don't like or whatever, it's probably on them,
Mhm.
right? It's something that is a trigger for them.
It could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
But
well.
it does come down to triggers and stuff too, right? A
Mhm.
lot of
Yeah.
the social media stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where I think you just again have to have an honest conversation within yourself, and you have to have an honest conversation with your partner and be like, well, posting is important or posting isn't important, or this is it's so crazy that this is even
A
a part
topic.
of the
I
conversation.
know. It's wild.
Where you're just like, well, like, is it okay if I post that? Like, it's yeah. And some people it's not an issue. Like their partner does
Yep.
whatever the hell they want and
Yeah.
and it works and there's trust and all that kind of stuff. And some people
Mhm.
don't really stress about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's
and
like, it
that's
works.
okay too. Yeah.
Yep. It works.
But
People have, there's, it's like a friend of mine says too, there's boundaries like a wall. It might be a wall that's 6 feet high, but it might be a wall that you just trip over.
mhm. Mhm.
But there should be something there, something in place, something that's been discussed,
Mhm.
um, so that there's an understanding.
Well, there's a part in a relationship that's a sacred place that you
100%.
keep protected.
Yep.
And nobody crosses that.
Yep.
Not even you in the relationship. You keep it protected.
Well, that's it. And we've been through this too, where I talked about party A, party B, and the relationship is party C.
Mhm.
Like if you have circles, you have this circle, and this circle, but it should be
Mhm.
that they actually cross over and you have a separate bubble for your relationship, right?
Yeah, it has its own entity.
Yeah,
Almost.
and you can't have one person behaving like this and one person behaving like this. It doesn't work. It
Mhm.
doesn't work. But it's about
Yeah.
understanding and compromise,
Yeah.
right?
No, that's exactly what it is. And protecting that like that bubble. There's no
Mhm.
one fits all type thing. You both
No.
bring whatever to the middle.
But
But
the end goal should always be resolution for something,
Mhm.
right? To come to an understanding. And you hash it
Mhm.
out and you hash it out and you hash it out until there is that, right? You
Mhm.
need a break from the conversation, you step away, you come back to the table, right? But you always
Yeah.
come back, and
Mhm.
sometimes, who was it? Someone said this to me quite some time ago, and it's like, I don't understand marriage counseling. It's just, you're just going there to learn how to compromise yourself enough to shut the other person up.
Wow.
And I'm like,
That's crappy.
okay, so maybe there's a tiny bit of truth to that, but if you're
Okay.
compromising yourself for that reason,
Mhm.
that's not right. Just to
No.
shut the other person up. Or if you're
Mhm.
compromising yourself to the point where you're resentful because you're maybe
Mhm.
giving them their way all the time, that's not
Mhm.
right either. Right? That's
Mhm.
not what couples counseling is about, right? It's about
Mhm.
coming to an understanding, learning to communicate, learning each other's styles of communication, right? Love
Mhm.
languages, right?
Mhm.
That, that can actually be, that would be another cool episode too, is love languages. But
Well,
and
and also too, there's an etiquette, right? Like
yeah,
that's part of boundaries. Like for me, I'm very careful on posting my children. Like you can't see my children unless you're a friend
yep,
or whatever that is.
yep.
And I've had to have conversations with family members
Mhm.
specifically and be like, yeah, don't use that photo of my
Yep.
daughter,
Yep.
in your profile picture.
Yep.
And it's etiquette. It's like you also have to, in relationships too, it's a good idea to have a conversation about consent and what they're okay with posting and vice versa, because some people may
Mhm.
not be okay with,
Mhm.
or if you're in a blended family
I would
and
say that, yeah.
the other parent doesn't want this parent posting children and vice versa,
Mhm.
and that kind of stuff, and it's etiquette.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
Boundaries is when you're just like, no, please don't post pictures of that.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm firm on
Well, and
that,
there's like
so
too,
don't do
like
that.
celebrities, they'll like cover their children's faces, or people don't even know that some celebrities have a kid because they hide them.
Hmm.
Like, remember
Hmm.
Michael Jackson would always
Yeah,
put like a blanket over, isn't his son's name Blanket, actually?
I think so. Yeah, or Prince
Right?
the Third or something. I'm not sure.
Something a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would always put a blanket on his face.
Hmm.
And that's like just a personal thing, right? Like, you want to protect your child, or you feel the need to protect them to that degree.
Of course.
Right. So there's that too. But some people, like, I have somebody on my social media who will take pictures of her daughter all the time, but always she's turned around.
Hmm.
So you never
Hmm.
see her face,
Yep.
which is interesting as well, right? Like,
Hmm.
it's there's a whole, s- spectrum
Well,
of,
there's people in relationships where one partner has social media and the other one is like, no, I don't do social media.
yeah,
And that person who doesn't do social media should be respected in the relationship as well.
absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
They may be like, yeah, don't post anything. And that would be hard for somebody who's um posting for their partner to be like, I don't do
Yeah,
social media, period. So please
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I think that would be tough for me. That would be tough for me because I do want to have that interaction with my partner
Mhm.
on social
Yeah.
media. I like that, whether it's like little sarcastic comments on their photo or like banter,
Hmm.
like, I think it's
Hmm.
cute. Like, I do enjoy that part of things,
Hmm.
but again, boundaries, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If you have somebody who's like, I don't do social media, period,
Yep,
you have to respect that.
you do. You
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it comes down to, what can you accept? What do you not want to accept?
Yeah.
Have you had that conversation? Right?
Hmm.
It all circles back to the same stuff. It all circles
Yeah.
back.
It's
Yeah.
respecting your own, but other people's boundaries it's all about respect, really, I think.
As what it comes down to. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Hmm.
Agreed.
It's yeah, and even when I post things and stuff, I may overthink, but I am mindful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, like, not that I'm worried about offending anybody because I can't be responsible for that
Mm-hmm.
per se, unless it's really
Mm-hmm.
derogatory or whatever. But it's being mindful too, like just having that quiet second before you post to be like, okay, Like I'm being respectful, and I'm to myself and the person that's involved or whatever it may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, boundaries and social media became really big with COVID.
Yes.
People became a lot more vocal
Mhm.
about their views, opinions, beliefs. I know I did. I
Mhm.
know that people lashed out at me.
Mhm.
I obviously crossed a boundary for them,
Right. Yeah.
for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And
my,
that's okay, but they
yeah,
still don't have the right to like
no,
care.
keep
People are
scrolling,
allowed opinions.
keep scrolling, people, keep scrolling, or have a respectful debate,
Mhm.
conversation. I have
Yeah.
friends whose, decisions that I don't necessarily support,
Mhm.
but it doesn't change my feelings,
No.
how I feel towards them. I still love them. They're still my
Mhm.
friend. I might
Mhm.
not, share the same opinion on something, and that's okay. And
Mhm.
I think before COVID, that was a lot more acceptable. Then
Mhm.
COVID came along, people started sharing, information or their feelings on things, and it crossed some boundaries, I think, in a lot of
Mhm.
instances. Yep.
Yeah, like some people have a little rule for themselves, like I don't talk about politics online. Those are my
Yep.
personal beliefs. I'm not talking about them online. Like
Yep.
it's all those boundaries, but really what it is, it's creating peace in your mind
Yeah.
and being
Agreed.
respectful about it.
Agreed. Agreed.
I think that's really what social media boundaries come
Yep.
down to.
Yep. Yep.
Is peace
And
and
I
respect.
think that, like, boundaries and beliefs are somewhat interchangeable words, right?
Yes.
These are my beliefs. This is how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Respect that. Some people might not even use the word boundary because it doesn't come to
Mm-hmm.
mind, but
Mm-hmm.
their feelings do, right?
Right.
These are my feelings on this subject. Please respect
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Um, so yeah, there's that.
Well, I think this whole conversation has been like, what is a healthy boundary for social
Yeah.
media?
Well, you
How
and I
can
even
you
had to
create
talk
that?
about it for this. We had
Yes.
to talk about boundaries for the podcast. Like, what are you willing to talk about? What are you willing to share about yourself and your
Mm-hmm.
past? What am I willing to share about myself and my past? And we started with very different
Mm-hmm.
feelings on that. We were like, no, I'm not going to
Yes.
share that. And now
Yeah.
it's become, you know what? I think maybe eventually I will share it. But then I
Yeah.
go back and I'm like, no, I can't do that. People are going to think, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, that's not what our podcast is about. It's about being
Mm-hmm.
real and
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable and honest.
Yeah.
Um, and so we'll get there. I think I'll get there where I'll share a little more about myself. You may not, and that's fine. That's your boundary,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The, yeah. Eh, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna. Oh,
I was
shut up.
gonna think of something like super insightful. I'm like, no, I can't come up with absolutely anything except, yep,
Yeah,
maybe
yep.
someday.
And that's
Sure.
okay. And that's
Hmm.
okay, right? That's your boundary. And I'm not going to push you.
No,
Like, I
no.
might say, Cal, I think maybe you should talk about that. Maybe it might be something that would be helpful for you or helpful to somebody else if they heard it,
Hmm.
right? Um, but I'm never going to be like, Kelly, you really need to talk about that. Not going to go there, right? That's not the
Yeah,
type of relationship we have. That's your boundary. I don't cross it.
and that's
Not that you
very
and I have many boundaries between each other,
no.
actually.
Mm-mm.
There's no
No,
subject that's off the table.
no, and I think that's a boundary in itself, though. To be
Yeah.
like, okay, there's like we can speak freely,
Yeah.
and there's some times where we may have conversations where you're like, wow, that kind of
But
hurt me
we
a little
also
bit, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's and you and I have that kind of open line of communication. But I think you and I also have a boundary around, like, we have a rule, like, no matter what, we do not fucking lie to each other. Not about
That's right.
anything.
Yeah.
No
No,
matter what.
exactly.
No matter
Yeah.
don't like, there's times and I've said it before too, Kelly, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And you're
I'm
like,
like,
"I
yep, I
know.
know.
I know." Kelly, I did it again.
Yep, I know. Been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Yay.
Right? I did it again,
Yeah.
and then I take my lashing from you, I just take, and
Yeah.
it's not that, like when we say lashing, it's just an expression, but it's the whole like, it's okay, Ariana, you fucked up. It's all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's all right. I know you're beating yourself up more than I
Yeah.
could possibly beat you up over.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But that's our boundary. There's no lying. Not even like there's
Nope.
it just doesn't exist between us.
Well, you can't.
No.
Like, especially when we're doing this type of work, like we have to be honest and transparent. And when we're talking about it, well, we have to be that.
Exactly. We can't just walk. We need to walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
Or walk the talk. What's the
Authenticity.
expression?
Our last podcast was a huge
big time.
thing about that.
Big time. And again, authenticity, courage to talk about boundaries, right? It's have the balls, have the lady balls,
to just lay it out there and
That's
to
it.
talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it at the beginning and you're varied, it's going to be a problem at somewhere. It's not
cause
just
a
going
lot
to
of
go
friction.
away. Yeah, it's not going to go away.
Yeah, the friction will be there. Yeah.
So I think what's kind of cool is that there are some couples, and I mean, this is like kind of, I don't think I would do this. It would be more of a conversation, but like couples like sit down and like have agreements too. Like, and I'm sure it's not like a marriage contract or whatever, but they'll like sit down and be like, okay, this is what,
and that's okay. I'd love to have that kind of open communication with somebody. Like, I think it's important. Again, where no conversation is, off limits.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be willing to step up and be vulnerable for that type of conversation as well.
Well, yeah, and it's like maybe taking and talking with your partner about like, hey, when we go on our road trips, like we pick up our phones only for emergencies. We're not sitting there scrolling through Facebook en route, like or having like phone free time.
That's it. Like I'll check my social media in the morning. And then maybe once in the daytime or whatever, and then in the evening. Like those are just my times in the day. I'm busy. I'm doing my own thing too. But I go portaging in Algonquin Park, and there is no reception there. None.
Right.
You can't even call 911 if you wanted to.
Right.
And that is where I feel the most peaceful in my life, is when I have no access to anything. And at first, what's funny though, is at first it gives you a little bit of anxiety where you're like,
oh shit,
I can't talk to them, I can't look at this, I can't do that. And then you're like, fuck that. And then by the time you're coming back from your trip, your 3 or 4 days that you've been away, and you get into reception and your phone starts dinging, I get anxiety.
Oh, it's about energy too, I think.
And
right?
I'm just like, I don't even want to look at my phone. I've been in pure bliss for 3 or 4 days, and I don't even want to look at my phone, because it's, that it's work, that it's somebody trying to get a hold of you for something, so I look forward to those times. I look forward to those times very, very much. Yeah. But the rules with the phones is huge too. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being transparent with your current partner about contact with the exes. There's some that's needed. Huge. There's a lot of us that have children or other kind of responsibilities that you have to keep in touch with. But just being transparent about it, saying, hey, Bobby texted me yesterday because we have joint custody of the dog, and just stuff like that. Yeah, you gotta, and actually transparency, it's not about being honest about it. It's actually like, hey, I have to text so and so to find out, like the transparency.
Well, and you and we recently came across the I don't want to call it definition, but a very insightful explanation of the difference between transparency and honesty. And transparency is, I'm going to meet so and so for a drink. Honesty is, I met so and so for a drink. Or when you're asked, you say, yes, I went with so and so. Transparency is before, honesty is after.
That's right.
So I think that was like an aha moment for me and you.
I was
when we
like,
heard that, and we
oh,
were like,
damn.
and now we use it all the time. And we're like, he wasn't transparent, or like he's being honest, but he wasn't very transparent, and like, and
Mhm.
honesty's after the fact, right?
Yeah, usually. Sometimes
Yeah.
they don't,
And
but
it's still
yeah,
it's still the right thing to do. Absolutely, always be honest.
absolutely.
And
Yes.
a lot of people don't think to be transparent
Right.
either. But maybe us explaining that now will kind of put a different spin on it for people, right?
Transparency is so
Yeah,
powerful.
transparency
so-
versus
and-
honesty.
The trust that builds, you're just like, wow,
Yeah. I didn't
like,
even have to ask you. Oh my God.
they
you know?
prepared,
Yeah.
they were, so it's,
Yeah.
I think what we've taken away from this is boundaries aren't about restriction, they're about respect.
No. Absolutely. Yep. It's again, I want to keep you in my life. You're important to me. So please don't cross this line.
Right.
Oh,
And that's it. And it'll be interesting. Our next podcast, it'll be more broader.
More broad.
Broader.
I'm starting to correct people on their grammar and stuff, and it actually drives me crazy because I'll pick up on it, I'm like, Ariana, you don't need to mention that.
Yeah.
You don't need to mention
That's
that
my
was
boundary.
right. You don't need to
Please
mention
don't.
that they said something wrong or that
Yeah.
they're type. But it's like, I don't know. I've just started doing it, like especially with Jason. Like I'm like I'm gonna do this to you now because you're driving me crazy with your typos and the lack of commas in your or hyphens or brackets or Anyway, I had to say that.
No, and that's great. Like that's something
So,
that
more
you feel
broad,
that
not broader.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
using broader.
That's fine. So our next subject is broader, and
Broad.
it's going to be on boundaries in other areas, not just social media.
And relationships. I think there's a lot to work boundaries, kid boundaries, neighbor boundaries, you name it. There's all sorts of different roles that we play, and I think different list of boundaries for those roles that we play in people's lives, and that we play in other people that are the roles that they play in our lives. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there for a little bit. But that was another beautiful conversation.
As always, Kel.
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll see you guys on the next episode, and take care of yourselves until then.
And I'm like super curious to see what people's boundaries are specifically regarding social media with relationships. I really want to hear at least like 2 comments. And this is not for whatever. I actually want to hear what people have to say.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to make a post about
this.
that. I'm actually going to make a post about asking for feedback on social media boundaries. Yeah. Because I am curious because you and I have very particular and specific views on that based on our experiences.
Based on some of the experiences, and it would be kind of nice. Maybe other people are doing stuff that I'd love to learn. Because this is a whole new thing. Like I want to learn. Because
we're sensitive to it.
Yes.
Right? We're sensitive to it. So, maybe we need to lighten up a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. I don't know.
It
doesn't make me right. It doesn't make another person wrong. Right?
It'd be interesting to hear other people and how they've navigated boundaries in their relationship. Because I'm open to hear about it for sure.
Yeah, me too. I think it'd be very interesting. Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
all right, people. So take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks for your time. Bye.